Alrighty. Guys, thank you all for coming. Please sit down. Please come on. Faster. There's still a thing that sticks in your arms. Thank you for coming to Walgate School, the beautiful summer evening. And now we're going to start with the main part of the event. Guys, I won't need you to shut up. If you want to talk, go outside to the terrace. The terrace is just the back to the left. This event will be recorded, so you can, if you really want to talk, you can really go out to the terrace. Guys, if you want to talk, go out to the terrace. I need some quiet and respect here. Thank you. Beautiful. All right. Well, now we're ready. It's my pleasure to introduce Liudas Kanapienis, co-founders of Ondato.
On the hot chair.
On the hot chair, finally. I know we know each other for quite a few years. Been quite a few starting events, and now we really have a chance to learn how did Ondato get started. What takes Liudas? Thank you for coming. We were planning this for a few months, and now finally for a year. Let's start from what were the roots of Ondato? Where did Ondato came from?
So before jumping into that, I want to thank all for hosting us, but also I want to thank you for organizing this event, because you were like I know him for, I don't know, already about 10 years maybe. He's like a nuclear power plant, you know, like lots of energy. He's everywhere, and organizing this type of event is a very good job. So thank you for that.
Sometimes too much energy. Forgot the official introduction for you. Liudas has many achievements in his startups, and recently, besides all the success of Ondato, which is among top 500 fastest growing companies in Europe in technology, right? He recently became also the president of Infobot, right? Not only working on his own business, but also giving back to the community and helping others and our tech ecosystem. So, Liudas, how did Ondato get started?
Okay, so actually, like during my own career, I'll get back like to the very beginning, because that's a story to share. So through all the career, actually everything always happened to me like very organically and swiftly. Like I mean, moving from one to other was always just because of some reason, you know. And when I was a youngster, I was building websites and started playing, you know, on your channel and doing some stuff, creating websites for companies because that was easy stuff to sell, because nobody had it. You know? So you just create initially a business card and sell it for 200 Liudas at the time, and it was fantastic. And then I decided that, you know, I need to expand my market. So I started literally to sell internet to my neighbors and doing that stuff. But since I was playing with computers too much, which was kind of nice, so my mother said that I will not get anywhere with that, and that I will not, like, you know, go to any university. I said, like, I can do whatever I want. You know? Like, I can study medicine if I want, because, you know, I can learn whatever on the internet. So she said, like, what the fuck, you know? So I did, and I studied medicine, yes, actually. But while doing that, I still did lots of stuff. Again, with the computers, then I started selling computers, lots of that stuff. Then I started doing the export stuff, and swiftly moved to the financial sector. So first of all, like collecting the payments and all that kind of stuff, and then introducing, like, you know, different type of fintech solutions. And with that, I also needed some solutions to onboard customers. You know, so different, there was no GDPR, all that kind of stuff, so that was totally different infrastructure and platform. But at the same time, the legislation was introduced, so how the customers can do financial institutions. So for me, that was then like very organic shift that, okay, so maybe let's not do that to myself, but let's do it to the market, not to other market. And at the same time, there were already some solutions that do the same stuff, so but I was looking at it different, so that not just to focus on one single process, but to cover the full cycle. So and at that time, the idea was that let's make a platform that would be enough to have one single person set it up, the rules and risk appetite, and everything rest can be managed by the system. Of course, everybody said that it's just, you're crazy, right? It's just impossible. Like, look at today, AI and all that kind of stuff. Nobody says that anymore. But at that time, it sounded crazy. So that was the stuff actually of that. So I started with, of course, with some processes and it's kind of more and more, and still like lots of stuff on the pipeline.
Maybe we can then learn a little bit, we can disclose probably, for example, how many IDs or people do you check per month on average?
Now it's roughly, again, we now have quite a lot of different processes, because we now have quite a few solutions. Some of them like the H-check, so basically where we just check the biometric and allows people into some famous sites. Then the others are the ID checks. So like if you look at the ID, what was the initial start on that? Also we do approximately 2 million. Then face checks, to be honest, I think we don't know, will be a bit more. And then of course different type of screenings, sanction screenings, we exposed by people and that different calls. I'm not sure about that.
Nowadays, of course, everyone is used to DMST and companies understand that they need it. But back in the day, KYC is probably not the easiest product to sell. Did the companies even know that they need this kind of solution? How did you go over this lack of awareness about KYC?
That was a very interesting beginning and journey, so because of course one of the deadlines was still the legislation allowing to do that. So we went to the market with the idea of digitalizing the services, allowing the traditional banks or whatever to become online banks and all that kind of stuff. But that was not easy, trust me. So the worst idea you can have as far as stuff is to start selling to banks. Usually long sales cycles, lots of requirements, all that kind of stuff. And of course that was very difficult. The beginning was really difficult. It's good that I kind of was already a bit of known in this industry and seen, so that for me a little was easier. I gained some customers in the online lending industries, in the educating, different level. So that part, we went through it and gained some initial traction and gained some funding. But then we go with it.
Yeah, well, obviously you had experience in the industry and you're coming from Paysera, but what would you advise or what would you point out to first-time founders, early-stage founders who are just entering fintech and compliance markets? How would they get these first customers and explain what they do to the banks and financial institutions?
It's again a bit too wide, let's say, to explain that, you're selling. Of course, I would need to know what exactly they're selling and doing. So, but my main advice will be actually related to that. So, to focus on actually one initial problem and the actual value that they can deliver to that institution. And especially when finding something, to focus on the ICP. And that's the core, I believe, because if you try to serve everybody with everything, that will be just way too difficult. It's so difficult and you burn loads of money and if focusing on the very beginning, precisely like solving the challenge for that particular ICP, that would be way easier.
So let's say this early stage founder started and now very focused on the ICP. How do they build trust and actually manage to close these first customers? What did you do? You know, the startups have this reputation of being here one day and not being around the other day. How do you build trust and actually make the customer trust you?
Well, we use different techniques. There were customers that we literally brought a contract saying that if we are better, all the software and everything remains to you. So and that's kind of that's what they do. And these type of contracts we were introducing, so that just to gain trust. With some, of course, later stage of maybe even easier because you go through some different certifications and that kind of stuff. But at the very beginning, first of all, of course, finding at least looking for the customers that are not so sensitive, to the relation dealing style. Because it is true that you can waste loads of time there. But on the other hand, with the banks that we signed here, we didn't have any special contracts or something that would depend on the software or whatever type of stuff, because we were focused on the actual value that we bring on the table. So for them, the loss and gain was literally either just saving somewhere, and okay, they will go bankrupt, so that's why we will not say that. But in the meantime, anyway, we will say it. So a bit of explaining the value we have.
Hey guys, in the back, to the next bar. It's really getting loud. Can you please go to the terrace if you want the bar? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you also have contracts where you have a paragraph saying that if something, the software will save the customer. Wow, that's very kind of never seen this. So was it, I guess it was a little bit risky for them, nervous for you to sign this kind of clause?
Come on, running a startup is still going on. And you cannot go partially in. So either you're full in and you believe your idea and you believe that you will make it happen, either you don't do it. Because there's no other way to make it happen.
How, in these kind of cases, especially in the early stage, how did you manage not to get pulled into custom work for the customer? I guess if you're just starting out, you're getting a lot of feedback from different customers, they're all saying different things. How would you prioritize these features and understand if you're building something for the market and not just for a single customer?
Very good question, and I mean especially the B2B startups, that's usually it. For me, what was initially helping that there still was some regulation. The answer is what we done. But you're totally right that there was some huge initial requests and all that kind of stuff. And imagine you are just starting, you have MRR of 20K, and then you have a client that paying you 5K, and then requesting something. You really want to do that, and people want to do that. But at the end of the day, if you have a very clear vision what you actually want to achieve, where you're heading to, and that this 5K MRR is just a very short-term goal, so then you make the choice, your long-term goals and the short-term goals. I'm not saying that we don't make mistakes, we make them a lot. At the very beginning, we still, of course, got in those traps as well, and with those customers, then we were fulfilling, their needs and that kind of stuff. Because you still, trying to start, so you still need to somehow navigate through the needs of covering your invoices, your headcounts, and then still growing the revenue, and some more money in the account and more revenue. And of course, you're then navigating somehow through. So at the very beginning, we were building those 5 just for that particular customer, we literally will say that we will deliver that, but next year. I'm hoping that next year we will be like enough revenue just to literally cut them off, like as the customer. So, but that's true. So like, and that's the way you play.
Now, of course, we have AI that helps us build features, and sometimes is it harder to prioritize your pipeline of features, or is it less work because you can build so much easier with AI?
Eddie, like I'm not a believer that any technology like literally can make something easier or more difficult. So it can make the process easier, but the choice itself has to be made the same way. Anyway, so of course there's more information. Sometimes you can react. There's some market research that you can do, but I mean the decision will be the same. And I don't believe in easy decisions, to be honest. In my field, the biggest challenge is that there's lots of sensitive data that we process. And there's not that kind of, you can, there's lots of ideas. I mean, in this room, if I don't know, if we could, do some hackathon or whatever, so there would be literally, I don't know, 200 people, so 400 ideas, what we could do better. But the main problem is that actually deploying that and the possibilities to deploy that in a very secure way. And especially, when you're a young startup, you can experiment a lot of stuff. When you're doing a bit more stuff, then it becomes more difficult. So if you're asking if it's now easier or not, I think it's the same, because there are some things that are moving more quickly, but on the decision level, it's still the process, and especially now. And really, that's also the advice to the audience that are selling to the corporates. You have to understand that there is a big process on implementing something, and you come with a very good idea like listen, you just implement this, and you will fly and blah blah blah. You literally believe this idea, and they say, okay, we'll think about this next year, and you're like, oh shit, crazy, they're losing so much money with this. But it means just you don't understand the process behind that. So what does it mean to them to make that decision, to make a shift, to implement it, to test it out, to make sure that everything works fine, and especially selling to financial institutions, so that's even more difficult.
All right, so let's step away maybe from decision making, but in using AI in processes in general. What would be is there anything that you were surprised how your organization, how your colleagues use AI? Any fun use cases, anything you can share? AI is now the biggest hype. We're all looking, for tips and tricks how everyone else is using AI.
So we started a company like this, AI company. That's what and machine learning was literally from the very initial test transactions there. The funny story I could tell you that was, and maybe that will be interesting to the audience as well. So the client calls me, one of the first clients, a lending company, calls me and says, listen, Liudas, we have a problem. I said, okay, what kind of problem? He said, we have a people onboarded asking for a loan. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you got it.
The Chinese beer.
No, the beer. And we're looking at that transaction as traditionally, on a government is just a bit open, basically asking for a loan. I came to the programmer. I said, listen, I said something wrong with our software, because it's no physical. And he says, yeah, but we have to separate ass from face. The task was that. So that kind of explains today's reality with AI as well. So there's lots of things you can do, but it also very much depends on how you will explain what you expect from it. So how you will actually make that prompt, how accurate that will be, and what will be the context given to it. And that changes a lot. So because if you will say like, listen, just read me that document, it will do, you know, but then you will say like, listen, but it's wrong, and you say, yeah, it's still a document, you know. You know, I think that's the trickiest part. But I mean, in terms of usage, I mean, what's surprising me is that everyone is so hyped on different type of ways, you know, so like the ChatGPT and Claude, you know, so then back to ChatGPT, so credits are literally just used like all those, you know, invoices, you can literally see them on credit sheets.
So I'm kind of feeling that you're more of a skeptical guy regarding AI. It's more a hype, no?
I'm not skeptical at all. We literally now, if you're being serious, we deploy AI in lots of processes, and today we deploy that, of course, way more. Yeah, so because it allows us to analyze lots of information, to get more context, to whatever. We have some literally AI-first agents as well, like especially it helps a lot. I can give you an example. Yeah, so like it wasn't like we were solving a problem that the address media on a person, it was database based. Yeah, so like literally you use something, you try some Google search, but it doesn't work like properly. When the language processing models were introduced, we solved that problem, right, on address media search, and now it gives a very good and accurate result there. Yeah, so like I mean, I love this idea. On the high level, you're right, like, I mean, because it looks like it is just AI just appeared now. Yeah, so like, and that's the problem I see, because I'm talking about the deepfakes like now 7 years. I was showing I remember one of the first pitches, I was showing the Obama video, when Obama talks like this up, and apparently that's not Obama. You know, so that was like 7 years ago, and now everyone's like, oh, deepfakes are rising. And yeah, so it's not a new thing, man. Like, you know, so that's why I'm really skeptical.
Wait, so will face recognition go away in the future? Will we need something else? Because of AI taking anyone's face and voice? So
it depends. Like, I mean, we'll see. I believe that we'll see some combination of that. So for sure, there will be some wallet type of things, or like Google Wallet, other wallet type of transaction confirmations. I don't believe that the face itself will go away as such, because sometimes we need to make sure that this is the person, presenting themselves, and especially the financial.
it'll be part of the mix.
Yeah, part of the mix or something like that. It's just, like deepfake is a problem when there's a screenplay attack or rejection attack. But I mean, on the live video stream, so there's not a big issue there. Like, I mean, and even though the quality is not high, but the screenplay attacks are very well protected. So that's a bit of different type of technology that you utilize to detect that. But I mean, what will happen in the future? That nobody knows. But there's lots of initiatives now on combining, and of course on avoiding the fraud and detecting the money models attack and stuff in that field, and also ensuring that the content provided by the internet at wide scale. I mean, not only the adult content, whatever type of content, but there's loads of issues on the marketplaces and everywhere. So that on the social media, that this content would be provided only to the people that belongs to be provided to.
So obviously Ondato exists partially because of the regulation in the financial industry. The financial institutions have to do KYC, and you're helping them. But the regulation also touches your company. And now, for example, AI Act is going into power as of August 2nd, so in exactly 1 month. How do you deal with all these regulations? How do you view AI Act? Is it for the better or for the worse for the tech?
So again, it's I would say, and maybe again advice for the founders. Yeah, so like every let's say regulation or any obstacle in your field can be either the hurdle or either the benefit for your company. So like everybody will say that knows me that I'm too optimistic about about everything. So I'm looking at all of this as the possibilities, you know. So because if there's some kind of certification or some audit that needs to be done, and I will go for it, so I'll be one step ahead, you know. So of all the others. So we literally have different type of audits, certifications, whatever type of stuff. So AI for me, like honestly, is just one of those small topics because there's way more interesting ones and wider and deeper ones than the AI Act, because in the Act it's just a classification, like of the information we are storing. But if coming to the other, we are now like operating widely, like in the market. So there's different type of regulators coming from different jurisdictions, asking you to do some questions, then it becomes more interesting. But when you go for it, so then again, an opportunity.
So in how many markets do you operate now?
So you see, our customers today operate literally globally. Yeah? So like, of course, we don't allow them to accept customers from Russia, from sanctioned countries and all that kind of stuff. But they operate globally. Our customers are maybe from 50 countries, something like that.
And then many of them, as you mentioned, have their own regulations. So are there like different Ondato versions deployed for different markets?
It's not a version, this is setup. So like when you set up the account, so that was the design of the platform itself. So that to be able to support whatever type of different methods of how the customers are onboarded, and the different setups, what's needed to be checked, and how they were supported to be held.
You mentioned that just a second ago that there are some very interesting other issues that potentially maybe some startups would work with. As a veteran in the startup industry, what are the most exciting things for you now? What do you would love to see fellow founders here from Lithuania working on?
Honestly, I'm literally excited in general on what Lithuanian founders are doing and how they're presenting themselves. And of course, like I'm excited when you have your whatever breakfast in Miami and you see like Vinted advertising or Sadie product in the airport, in Los Angeles. That's of course awesome, the feeling is awesome because we're from such a small country and we already, have that type of impact. I'm still excited about the health tech products, because it still made me relate to the medicine studies, what I was doing. And I'm pretty sure that there will be some new really interesting stuff. Of course, the defense topic is really interesting, and I'm excited that there are still some startups, doing some stuff, even though there's so difficult to do them in this environment. And I don't know, I'm excited about this stuff. Look at this.
Yeah, this is awesome. So the title of the event is Building Global from Lithuania, and as you are doing it on Ondato. So if you would have to give one advice for all the founders who might be just starting out, how to think global or think about going global, or building global their products from early days.
I'll give you the story again. So like 12 years ago, I was building one startup, and I literally you remember, there was not too many people to raise funds from. So I went to Barcelona to do some kind of event, pitching there. It's very similar environment as this, like to raise out there, pitching and everything. And I was looking at, oh my God, it would be so nice to have like something like this here in Vilnius. Honestly, today I don't think the founders have the problem of thinking locally. And when I talk to different people, I don't think we're already like focused on this market, where we do understand this market as the market at all. But if somebody does, so please don't. There's no market, there's no people here, there's nothing. And as soon as you will understand that, it will be way, way easier. Like go to, I don't know, Canada, if you don't go to US, go to UK or whatever, or to Netherlands, you will see like totally different scale, totally different I don't know, transactional volumes, contract values, and whatever type of stuff. So that's for sure. I mean, I do understand that there are already companies that can bring you a proper contract here in Lithuania, but you might end, if you're selling especially to, I don't know, like bank here, so you might end to some very different thinking person.
All right, I just came up on the spot, so if you don't want to share, it's totally fine. But you serving financial customers all around the world, you can see where traffic is coming through, right? Where people are really doing KYC. What would you say? What are the exciting countries or exciting markets that you will surprise you and you would encourage people here check them out? In Asia, Africa, Latam.
That will be not, I can share that, I mean, but that will be not, I would say, maybe the very best insights, because, you see, we get more traffic from the countries where our customers are more active. That's what I mean, so where do they market themselves? Like, if looking at the very like large scale from the whole transactional volume, so that will be more reflecting like to the populations of different countries. Yeah? So I mean, but I can see that Latin America is like actually rising, so that's obvious. And there's lots of stuff happening there, and lots of startups from there, lots of new initiatives. Of course, Africa is still I understand the market from all the aspects, and there's lots of road there. And it's a very nice ban on Russia. Like, I mean, very, very nice. Like, zero. So.
Any particular countries in Latam, in Latin America?
Well, so Peru, Argentina, these would be the markets that I would be looking at.
Well, let's plan the next Vilnius Founders in Buenos Aires, and hopefully we'll live together there with this. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. Guys, Liudas Kanapienis. And now we're going to do a break so you can get home and bring some food, some conversations, and be back in 5 minutes. Thank you guys.
Labas.